Hello everyone, today I'm back making a robot and RC car collection update. I would like to formally apologize for my absence. I've just had a lot of stuff going on that has kept me away from YouTube. Nevertheless, let's get started. So I'm going to start with my RC car stuff just because there's a little bit less to talk about. So first and foremost, I have gotten a Traxxas rally car. You can see it's the NOS energy drink. It is running a brushed system, but I love it so much and I'd like to make videos on it as soon as possible. I have driven it a few times, but definitely not as much as I'd like. I've gotten quite a few retro Radio Shack, Tyco, Nico, etc. I've gotten quite a few of those kinds of RC cars. Here's one. This is a Turbosonic off-roader, which is in pretty bad condition, but I got it for $1. And this thing is pretty rare from what I can see online, so I'm really glad that I got that. Down here, not too much has changed except this right here. This is a New Bright fire truck. I love this thing. It isn't wireless, it isn't, radio controlled, but it just does so much and it's so much fun to play with. I try not to drive it too much just because I don't want to break anything on it with how old this thing is, but it seems really sturdy and I think it'd make a really fun thing to mess around with if you're trying to do, say, a scale montage of something. So yeah, overall I really love this thing and I'm glad that I found it. Over here I've gotten quite a few cars. Nico Landshark, it works, I'm glad. This Eliminator here, this Tyco Eliminator, it does power on, but I don't have a remote to test it. So I'm hopeful that it works, but either way, still an awesome find. Personally, out of all of the RC cars that I own, at least when it comes to the toy grade, as they call it, I would have to say this one is probably my favorite out of all of my collection, just due to the aesthetic of it. Right here is a Megatech Megastorm hovercraft. Not much to say about it. I've done repair videos on it. It's balloon, as you'd call it, was not correctly attached when I found it. But nevertheless, now it's working and it's a blast. Down here, Radio Shack Range Buster 2. I can't find too much on this one. I need to do a bit more research on it. Tyco Fireball. Again, one that I can't find too much information on. Down here, we got the Tyco Rebound, if I remember correctly. I'm not too good on the names. Untested, the wheels are chopped up. Kind of sucks, but it's in otherwise pretty good condition. I'd like to get it running. This right here is something pretty cool, I think. This I found at the flea market, like most of the stuff that I do. And the only reason I got it was because of all of these logos that it had on it. After doing a bit of research, I found out this is how it comes from the factory. These weren't put on by its previous owner, which I think is really cool as someone who is a pretty big computer enthusiast. And up here, nothing has changed since my previous video, if I remember correctly. So yeah. Now we'll move on to the robot collection. So I have gotten a Roboraptor Blue, which is the Bluetooth model of the Roboraptor, of course. I love the color scheme. It's really nice in my opinion. I think it looks a lot better than the just gray, black, and white of the normal Roboraptors. Up here, there's one major difference. I finally own a red V2. I found this on Facebook Marketplace for $25. I haven't got to test it yet because it hasn't been rewired yet, but I must say that the color scheme looks so much better than I imagined. Like, you just can't tell exactly how nice this red color scheme looks on camera. It's probably my favorite coloring out of all the different robots that I have. I personally expected it to be a bit more like Tribot, which you can see is a bit brighter, but no, it's a lot darker. Even a bit darker than the red RoboPet, which I think is pretty cool. Over here, this shelf has changed a bunch, namely because I took all the robots that were originally down there and I moved them onto this shelf. And also I have, of course, picked up a few more robots since the last video. Right here, this is actually a phone. And apparently the eyes light up whenever it's receiving a call. I can't test it because I don't have a landline. But either way, I had to pick it up. It looks similar to R2-D2, which I'm assuming is probably where they got the inspiration from. Maybe. I'm not 100% sure. But nevertheless, I mean, it's a robot phone. I mean, it's just really funny looking. Honestly, doesn't look too bad either. So, of course, I had to pick that up when I saw it. Down here is mainly just boxes, nothing too special. I would like to get all of the boxes for all of my robots and try to stack them up, but I haven't got to work on that yet. Over here, two main new acquisitions. The Forbidden Planet Robbie. I do not have the Iron Giant yet.
Welcome to Altair 4, gentlemen. I am to transport you to the residence.
And I got Toby, which is pretty neat. I haven't got to try it out yet. It has some corrosion. In fact, one of its springs are actually missing. So I might have to replace that before it'll actually function. But I've seen this thing for sale for quite a while at the flea market, and I finally managed to talk the guy down to what I consider a reasonable price for it. So I decided to grab it, and I really like the aesthetic of it. So hopefully I get that working before too long. Over here, this shelf is a little bit more empty just because some of the stuff was actually moved onto that shelf, just because it fit in better over there. And the main difference is that I now have two Zoomer chimps. And they both work, which is surprising. I got them both for extremely cheap for some reason. My main surprise is not a lot of people actually own these in the robot community. I'm not quite sure why, because they are pretty decent robots. At least from my experience, I've never had any issues with the balancing, the standing up. I've never had any issues with them. They seemingly are a lot tougher than most of the Zoomers, especially the 1.0 Zoomer. So, yeah. I might actually move some more of my, these minis. Well, I guess you could say, these are the McDonald's toys here. But my Mini V2, I'll probably end up moving over to that shelf with the rest of them, because all of the rest of my Wowie minis are down there and up here. And when it comes to the Furbies, I haven't picked any up recently. I did have the newest model Furby. I had one of them, but I no longer have that Furby because I gave it as a birthday present, just because I personally don't use my Furbies all that often, and if I think someone else will get more enjoyment from a robot, then I don't mind giving one away just to make someone else happy. Anyways, I think that's really about it. Nothing else really has changed, as far as I know, except for maybe some minor shelving updates. I hope to be going out to the flea market a lot more soon. A while back I heard that it was actually closing down, but apparently it's only the older half is closing down, while the newer half of the flea market is actually staying open, which to me personally kind of sucks because the older side is where I got most of my best purchases. Nevertheless, I'm not gonna skip out on a chance to go to a flea market. You know, you never know what you could find. So, yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching my update video. If you'd like to see videos of any of the robots seen in this footage, feel free to leave a comment down below and I will try my best to do it.